Hi guys. I feel like a marching band.
I know, right? Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So, can you turn my phone on vibrate because...
Don't forget the timer.
Yes.
Sometimes we get stuck on tangents.
Yes, and we discovered that when we're stuck on tangents, it don't look so good.
Oops.
So, hope y'all had a good New Year. And all that jazz.
Yes. What are you doing?
I'm trying to turn the ringer off because we're also getting text messages from friends and clients. Yay!
Hi.
So, we were asked to do a shout out.
Which one?
Remember the one that I kept saying? To Mr. To someone in Kentucky, I'm Mr. Unlucky. Hey.
Hey girl.
Yeah.
Are we saying his name?
No, we're not saying
Okay.
names, so we don't.
We'll call it Big G.
It just sounds frightening.
It does, but they'll know who they are.
So,
What up?
yeah, we've got a lot of, yeah, what up? But yeah, we've had a lot of requests and a lot of comments in the past couple of weeks from clients, from friends and everything, from other people that we just, work with in general. And a lot of it's been about magic training. And all of, they've asked different questions, but a lot of it stems back to, how did you get to what it is that you're doing? Well, how is it that your practice got honed so well and everything like that?
You read it and you do it.
Exactly. But we are from multi-paradigm, we're from a multi-paradigmal background. Anthony has his backgrounds in
Stuff. No, just kidding. Reverse Christianity, witchcraft in a traditional European sense, brujeria, Satanism, Luciferianism, chaos magic, sorcery, brujeria, hechicera, things like that. So a lot of it is very diverse. I like to say a lot of what I did was sorcery because I just kind of put stuff together and saw what worked. If it worked, I kept it. If it didn't, then I tossed it.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of my background was in Wicca, traditional Wicca, witchcraft, European, American, yes there is American from Wicca, and also some Strega. I have a background in working in hoodoo. I have a background in ceremonial magic, grimoire type, as well as, I did receive a lot of training in ceremonial magic in the Golden Dawn tradition and Ashram Sophia, which is a completely different tradition, and a lot of sorcery stuff, and a lot of shamanism, contemporary shamanism, and the list goes on and on.
It's down a little bit. I feel like it's loud.
Okay, so excuse him, but yeah, that's where a lot of my training comes from, and a lot of our training comes from multiple, stuff that we've had to discover and taking stuff from other people and reworking it to suit our needs. We've come up with a lot of stuff that's been very successful, and we're also had some training with some chaos magic, if you've seen our previous videos. So today's video is, or Stephen's video is on
Magical exercises.
and training.
Yes.
Basically your, fundamental exercises
Yeah.
and everything like that.
If you don't have a teacher, what you can do until you find one.
If you want one.
If you want one.
And with the books, a lot of the books that we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to try to get this into a little bit about time. We'll actually set you on rigorous training schedule that will help you to develop spiritually, so long as you keep up with the exercises.
Sorry, while he's talking, I'm going to arrange these in some of the more advanced and more rigorous to the not too advanced or too rigorous, but still very effective. And then we're going to have an intermediate. I would label this one intermediate.
Yeah. Oh, you forgot the hardback ones.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's right there.
Okay. So, well, he runs to our vast library of occult knowledge. One bookshelf.
I'm a girl, please.
Yeah, we both have a lot
Second
of...
one. Did you want both of them or just one?
Just the one for now.
Okay.
Well, no, bring them both.
They get their own pile.
Yeah, because these ones are kind of the fundamental practices that everybody kind of pretty much used as their foundational practices for anything. When it comes to Wicca and witchcraft, a lot of my influences had come from actually doing, it was the 90s, internet wasn't that popular, and there really wasn't much going on about it, but it had to do with coursework that was done by Lady Sabrina. And her book, Secrets of Modern Witchcraft Revealed, it's this one right here. She goes into a lot of exercises, ritual work, spell work, and everything like that. Probably one of the best, well, not one of the, it's a good primer. It's good to start with. I don't even know if this is published anymore. It was published by Citadel Press? Citadel Press, sorry. And, she goes into a lot of stuff like meditation, working with chakras, some basic stuff on divination with tarot, runes, going into spell work and your standard ritual structure, casting your circle, calling your quarters. It's very Gardnerian, Alexandrian-ish, but it's a really good primer, especially if you're just beginning. You can probably find it online or at your local bookstores. Mm-hmm. What about you? What was in your first primers?
One of my very, very first primers, I got both of these two at about the same time. I got Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft by Raymond Buckland, and also Embracing the Moon by Yasmin Galenorn. Mm-hmm. I would recommend them both. This one if you want a more strict structure. This one if you just want really, really basics overall that also lead into basic spellcrafting.
Yeah, so it's for the new person who's starting off.
This is for the new person if you don't know exactly where you want to go, but you do know you want to practice magic, not necessarily always religious, but it does go over some religious aspects, but it goes over the very, very basics of what you need in order to get things to manifest.
Mm-hmm. And Uncle Buckland's always, the religious structure. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite books, honestly, when I first read it, I had no idea what the hell he was talking about.
I was able to follow it because I read this one first and I got a basic understanding before jumping into this one.
Yeah.
Got them at the same time. They were birthday gifts, but I did that one because it was easier, and then I went to this one, which was a good thing for me.
Mm-hmm. The best thing about the book is he goes into chapter by chapter. He goes into instructions, meditation.
I like that you got assignments at the end. As bad as assignment sounds, it really allowed you to ponder it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
if you write in the actual book, I will judge you though. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm against writing into books too. But yeah, that was one of my, that was probably like the third book that I got. The first book I got on Magick was Earth Power by Scott Cunningham. One of my favorites. Love that book.
How'd you grab it?
Yeah, but, his other really good book that I like is Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner. And yes, this sounds like a Llewellyn infomercial. No, it is not.
Well, I mean, that was Llewellyn.
We got a good mix of stuff here.
Yeah, it's a good mix.
But, with him, he goes into the basics, meditation, visualization. He kind of explains it a little bit easier and working on a more solitary path, especially if you're just beginning. If you're interested in witchcraft, then this is one of the ones that I would recommend. It's very easy to follow. What about you?
I would still recommend this one. I actually didn't even get this copy until I was or a copy of this until I was 16 or 17. Mm-hmm. So I got this one a lot later. Yeah. But I found this one pretty much just like Wicca, but it's not as dogmatic if you're looking for just magical practice. Yeah. But yeah, one of my favorite ones, especially for ritual practice, whenever I was in high school, I got it when I was 15 or 16, was Witchcraft, Theory and Practice by Lady Angelis. Mm-hmm. The Hermeticism within it and Kabbalistic correspondences, I kind of ignored and just went over when I was younger, which I wish I didn't, so don't do that. Or I wouldn't recommend doing it. However, I love the ritual structure, spellcraft, and different incantations that she uses, as well as ideas for ritual work and visualization. I went through and used the self-dedication ritual. It is really good.
With one of the training covens that I was actually with, aside from the Witch's Bible by Janice Farrar, that was one of the next best books that was suggested for us to read and study. It is a really good book. Other than that, the other book that I really recommend, which you didn't bring out, is Mastering Witchcraft by Paul Hewson. Classic. A lot of people have an issue with it because they think it's dark.
It's tradition.
Yeah, it follows tradition. A lot of people have said that it is a primer for witches into ceremonial magic because it's very ceremonialist. It follows a lot of ritual work. But a lot of these books you have to realize and remember that they are written in code. They are written for people who have had some training or people who have teachers. So it's not going to give you all the information that you want right off the bat. That's the part, that you have to step up, discover, and realize for yourself. And you'll see the same things almost written over and over and time after time. So another good book that I personally.
I was gonna say, and if you can't decipher it, experiment. It might blow up in your face and you might mess up a lot, but I like to still agree that experience is the best teacher. If it says to like probably boil animals alive, you probably shouldn't do that.
Don't boil animals. Don't hurt animals, please.
They're better than most people.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not like vegan or vegetarian or anything. I still eat animals, but I mean, they're better than most people. That sounded really bad.
Shade.
Yes. Go on.
Another book that I found early on my magical practices, and this isn't ceremonial magic, was, and I talked about this several times, Modern Magic by Donald Michael Craig, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but it's probably one of the best primers in ceremonial magic in the Golden Dawn tradition. It goes lesson by lesson, and he goes into meditations, working with tarot cards, doing basic Kabbalistic cross, lesser magic ritual, pentagram, supreme invoking ritual, the pentagram, hexagram rituals, working with Goetic entities, making talismans, creating artificial intelligence. You know, seriously, this is a whole thing in itself. A really good read. Love this one, and it's just all good. My favorite, you know, one of my favorite books.
I'm having a really happy moment because now I understand a lot of what it talks about, but I'm not really just into complete ceremonial magic.
Yeah, with ceremonial magic, it's not for everybody because it's a lot of theory. There's a lot of correspondences and a lot of study, so it's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people just want to get into just doing the work and the sorcery and doing the magic, and for that...
Sorcerer's Secrets by Jason Miller.
Yes, we're big Miller fans in this household.
Hey.
Yes, if you're watching this, which I doubt.
I doubt it, but I mean,
Yeah.
in the off chance, what's up? You're good.
Yeah. You know, he offers courses online, which I actually recommend because a lot of it follows his books, and he has more than one. He has this and 2 other ones.
Financial sorcery and then protection and reversal magic.
Yes.
I actually just finished one course with him for just magic practice that I found fascinating for sorcery, and I'm going to take another one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really take online courses. The only ones I've taken are his and Raven Gramasi's.
Yeah, but Miller, he knows his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, his stuff works. He does really good exercises, visualization, developing the astral sight, working with different magic on different levels for love spells, money spells.
Different entities.
Mm-hmm. Divination.
Also, if you're interested in glamour and fascination, in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the books that I highly recommend to people, especially when they're just interested in the non-spiritual.
Well, it's very spiritual, but if
Yeah.
you're looking at it for
The non-religious.
not necessarily, non-religious, but also on a practical level for everyday living,
Mm-hmm. It's a good book.
very useful.
Yeah. Other books that we would recommend, especially
For practicality, because they're easy to what?
easy to understand.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't
No,
mean
it's
to
okay.
talk over you.
It's okay. We do it all the time. I'm used to it.
Yeah, but not on camera. Shh.
Yes, you do.
I don't do this. A very simple book, and that's really easy to follow and understand, especially for meditation practices. And I'm actually going to tell you guys a chapter. Yes. And Liber MMM, it's the first one, or the first book in the book by Peter J. Carroll, Libernal and Psychonaut.
Mm-hmm.
It goes over meditative practices, breath control, and also controlling the mind, and going into no mind by altering brainwaves.
Mm-hmm.
Very good for practicality and theory. A lot of it is really expanded on, but you can get it pretty easy.
Yeah, if you're looking for, it kind of, that one kind of bleeds into ceremonial magic, and if you're wanting more ceremonial magic with a little bit of chaos magic, one that I like is
High magic.
High Magic by
Frater V.
UD. He did a book on sigil magic, which we recommend. It's probably one of the easier books to follow. This is on theory and practice, and he goes into a lot of the basic training exercises.
Is that the one that we use that invocation from?
Yeah, the one from Pain?
Yeah,
it works really well when you get
it
to that
does.
point. It's a fun book to work with. You know, he goes a little bit into sigil magic, all kinds of fun stuff like that. Doing invocations, chaos magic, cyber magic, visualizations, doing some trance work and everything like that. Trance work is a big thing in magic. And by trance, we're not talking about you going into a complete off state where...
We're not telling you to do LSD.
No, don't do LSD.
Do your exercises.
Yes. When you get to the point of meditation, you get into the altered state.
Feels good.
Yes. It's really relaxing, lowers your blood pressure.
It's better than drugs and wine. But we like
Yeah, I
wine.
hate to
It's good for red blood cells.
Yes, it is. But another one of my favorites, and I actually went through a course with this. Well, it wasn't a course; it was a study group. Locally here, and people were working through it, and I decided to go through and just give it a shot. And it was one of the classics. Considered one of the classics in the modern pagan community. It's The Spiral Dance by Starhawk. Really good book. Chapter by chapter, she goes into basic exercises, meditation, spell work, casting your circles, and everything like that. There's a lot of stuff out there with this, but seriously, this is a good book. She goes into history, part of her own journey. I highly, if you're into Wicca, it's mostly Wicca based.
Am I a bad pagan if I didn't read it?
Guess what? He's going to be reading soon.
No.
Yes.
This?
It's actually really no, surprisingly, a lot of people think of it as kind of like, oh my God, Starhawk. It's actually a really good book. I kind of had the kind of from it.
It's not that I have a it's just...
Yeah, I respected her for all the stuff that she did in the past, but after reading through it, going through it, with the study group, it's legit. Seriously, the earlier exercises, especially if you've been working in Magick for a while, it can seem a little bit, corny, cheesy, or overly basic, but seriously, go through it. Follow the instructions. Don't take away from the exercises and don't add anything to it, but just do it as is, as a refresher. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people go through that. I know I go through it all the time when I come across different things.
We should probably talk about these two
Like
before
that.
we get there.
The other one that I really like too is Making Magic by
Elaine McCoy.
Elaine McCoy.
I like that one.
Really good. She goes into basic energy work. She goes into meditation. She goes into working with the chakras. She goes into working with tattvas, calling your circle, calling your quarters up. The only thing I was not too keen about with this one was that her quarter call is like about 4 paragraphs long, and just to call 1 quarter per element. I'm like, that's too
that is
much.
a very, very long one.
It is. She goes into pagan ritual magic, some divination stuff, some correspondences. But this is one of my favorite books, as you can tell, because it's dog-eared, torn, stuff like that. But I think I bought this when it first came out, and I've had this since the early '90s, as you can probably tell by the cover. But she also goes into a lot of Wicca and everything like that. I love her work, and I like her writings. The other one that I like, which was a little bit harder for me to find, was The Grimoire of Shadows by Ed Fitch.
I like the exercises in that one.
Yes, the exercises are really good. His rituals can be a little bit long-winded.
But if you like ritualistic witchcraft that goes more towards Wicca...
Yeah. He goes into it. He does some classic spells in here, like Love Potion. Actually, the first Love Potion I did was out of this book, and be careful what you ask for. Let's say put it that way. He goes into the Sabbats, Esbits, astral planes, correspondences.
I like that the exercises are also separated in its own section. Mm-hmm. So that way you don't have to flip through the entire book as you're going along with the exercises and completing them as well.
Yeah, he divides up the exercises according to degree, which is really cool. And again, he goes into like magic training, what he calls a seeker. It's just basic first degree type stuff if you're into witchcraft. But he goes into meditation, care of the material body, breathing exercises, empowering food. The second one is like novice, which goes into pour breathing, relaxation, building willpower, autosuggestion, keeping dream logs, memory training, visualization. He goes into working with good and bad aspects. And this goes on from
good
there.
and badasses.
Yeah. No, he also goes into, what I like about this is he goes into working with ritual tools individually. The wand, the pentacle, the chalice, the athame. So, your sword and, doing invocation versus evocation, summoning things up. And then he goes into creating what they call talpas, which is basically an egregore. Stuff like that. So it's actually really cool. It's really fun if you can actually hold up with it. But with all of this stuff,
guess where they all mostly come from?
everything has its origin point. And, a lot of it is just people, if you've read any, if you've been in the magic community long enough, you notice that a lot of things have a tendency to repeat. you know, it's not necessarily intentional, but it helps people so that they can spread the word about, you know, exercises that are legitimate and that work. So, and a lot of people have issues when it comes to like, well, I don't know where training should go, what I should do I actually need training, is meditation necessary, what if I can't visualize, you know, where do all these crazy exercises come from that are so difficult? And there's one primer that we've seen, and that I've mostly seen, that everybody takes from, and it's...
You need to watch that bead. These are classics. Franz Barton.
Initiation into Hermetics. Yes, all the books that we described over here, this, you know, I in all honesty, a lot of their exercises are based out of this book. This book is said to take at least 3 years to work through in its entirety.
If you can complete it successfully, there's a part 2, which is bigger.
Yes. And actually, that's the one thing that I didn't tell you. You know, he has 3 books out. Well, 4 books. Farbedo, which is supposed to be an autobiography of his of him, followed by Initiate's Guide to Hermetics, and then the practice of magical evocation. You know, a lot of people think that they have to follow, you have to complete this book to actually work through the second book or his, you know, second training manual. Not true. You actually, I think it was chapter 8 or chapter 7 before you can actually start working through practice of magical evocation. Both of these are very, you know, everybody, you know, takes from, and they use it for their exercises and stuff like that. He goes through Hermetics. It's, like I said, it's an entire system in itself, and it should take you through all 3 degrees of magic training. Carol Runyon Polk, the author of Magic of Solomon and MT of the Order Templi Astarte, you know, talks about it in some of his blog videos, and it's one of the highly recommended books that are out there. If you can actually get your hands on a copy of these, you're set. But they can be very dry. The exercises are very direct. He doesn't really go into all these parables or stories. It's just, okay, here's this exercise, master it. So, and you just read the introduction to this recently in the first few chapters. What did you think?
Luckily, I was able to understand what he was talking about with it. However, should we talk about an idea that we were doing? Because if we talk about it on film and it goes out, then we can't really not do it.
Let's give hints.
I think we should just say it.
Yeah, might as well.
So what we're thinking about doing, and we would like your feedback before doing so, is for our viewers who are wanting to get into more basic practices and building the will, so that way we can stay motivated with ourselves and working through this book, and you guys can stay motivated in yours as well, and if you want we can swap stories too. Is actually picking a book, preferably this one, to work through the exercises accordingly and properly and mastering them. Rather than, if someone says that they work through both of his books within a year, No.
This is like, for a dedicated student, this is actually 3 years, and that's a daily work.
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
So, you got to think of it like building the physical body. Oh wait, we were talking about doing that?
What?
We shouldn't have told them that. What'll be?
Oh yeah, we're not going to have that much time. So, yeah, because we're not going to be able to keep up with videos for making this.
Yeah,
But
so...
if you guys want to pick another book on magical exercises to work through and master, perhaps one of the easier ones for most people to get a hold of, because I know these books are also expensive too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. These ones are supposed to be out of print, from my understanding. They might have started going away print because of the popularity.
Yeah. But 3 years, I don't think we're going to be able to keep up with blogs for that. And I don't think anyone else is going to be able to keep up with uploads either. So we'll pick an easier book to work through exercises from. You want this one?
Yeah.
So instead of those, because we're actually going to work on those ourselves, but if anyone wants to, we can do it like a challenge. Since this whole New Year's resolution thing, let's actually make something happen.
Yes, queen.
Rather than like the New Year, you knew me BS. We're going to make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if anyone has a copy of this, or is going to have a copy of Witchcraft Theory and Practice by Lady Angelis anytime soon, or if they have it, let us know, and we'll talk about ways that we can make it into a training. So that way we can all kind of talk about things, keep each other motivated, keep you guys motivated, keep us motivated.
Yeah, sort of like a, not a training, because the training is in a book itself.
Yeah,
but
it's like a book club.
Yeah, a cyber study group.
Yes.
So if you're interested, let us know in the comments or send us a message. Remember, today is January something or another? 5th?
4th?
January 5th,
Oh.
2017. So if you hit us up like in 6 months, we might be actually through most of it.
Yeah.
So,
However, watch the videos and work along with it. If you have questions, comments, concerns, email us.
yeah, and we can.
We're not going to just diss you.
Yeah, we don't roll like that.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, with Fazbear's work, very fundamental. It is an amazing book. A little bit complicated, especially if you're new to magic. If you're new to magic, then we recommend the Angelus book. I recommend the Secrets of Modern Witchcraft, or the Grimoire of Shadows by Ed Fitch.
And it's not that we're going back on wanting to practice this, because we're still going to do it on our own.
Oh yeah.
But it's not that at all. I had a weird sense someone's going to be like, oh yeah, because they can't do it. It's not about that, and it's not about you're whipping out a magic wand and seeing whose is better. It's about wanting to motivate other people
And
as well as
encourage everybody.
ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, like with the physical body, if you want to go to the gym and get all pumped up, it's going to take some time. And with the whole idea of doing a cyber study group, it's to help encourage each other. It's to share, not like, oh, I got the biggest ego because I did this meditation and I'm all this and that. Like, no, you can have those meditations, but that could be as far as you go because, if circumstances. And life does happen.
This goes over your ego, so we'll all be able to keep each other in check. And
Oh, yeah.
Usually the one with the biggest ego is the one that needs to work on it more.
Oh, yeah. I'm a Leo and I know that.
I'm a Scorpio and I know that. Usually it's not even about me thinking I'm better than people, though sometimes it is, a lot of the time. But but a lot of the times too, I notice I get motivated to do things in a positive sense when I see other people doing it. But also if someone pisses me off just because I want to prove, and not to them, but to myself. And also to like kind of gloat like, I did it.
Yeah, but we're not trying
It's
to
not
do
trying
this
to
to be
do
catty
that.
or shady or anything like that.
No.
We want to try to help people develop magically. We've seen people do comments on Facebook like, well, there's no magic teachers on Facebook anymore, and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Yeah, I brought up the whole catty shadiness because I know that's one thing that I need to get back in control of. And that's one of the exercises with the Nemit in this.
Yeah, and in all honesty, it's not creating a cyber coven either. So I'm
No.
not saying that we're a cyber coven or anything like that, but it's to help each other grow in our own individual spiritual practice so that we can develop more and that there is actual legitimacy in the magical community. There are people who know their stuff, and by creating this, the goal is to, help other people develop, grow, and all that other fun stuff instead of leaving people in the dark, like, okay, I saw this video and I saw this video, but I don't know what to do now because I watched every freaking video that you had and I'm confused. So it's sort of like a pagan, online spiritual thing.
We're an encouragement group.
We try to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as no one's mean.
Yes. Bullying, we won't stand for. Yeah, we're both LGBT. We're both gay. Shit, we've been through our handful. We both been through a lot of bullying, and no, we don't stand for that.
Not in the mood.
No.
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, he said.
Act your age, not your shoe size. So, with that, we are just about out of time. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Happy New Year's again to everybody, and we hope that you find this work encouraging and that we give you some ideas for the upcoming year. And if you're interested, definitely let us know. Send us a message on Facebook.
Or even a video response.
Yeah, do a video
We're down.
response. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at totemroom@gmail.com.
Or on our Facebook page, Totem Room at Facebook.
Yes, and we are working on a Twitter account. We're just lazy as hell.
Yeah, I was thinking about making the Tumblr one, but I don't know.
Every time I hear Tumblr, I'm like, I think of that Kesha song. I'm going down. I'm
I'm
yelling
yelling
Tumblr.
Oh, we had a harmony for a second.
Yes. We did. So, we'll catch you guys later, and we'll probably do another video here in a little bit. But
But you probably won't see it for a few days after
Yeah.
this one, so.
Yeah, I got a bad habit of doing these and not posting them right away. So, catch you guys later. Bye, and Happy New Year, everybody.
That's to be pretty right